Hello and welcome to the channel, Sula's Big Adventures, with me, Sula. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about star brightness. All stars have an intrinsic brightness or luminosity, and that's the total amount of energy emitted by a star. When I say brightness, I'm referring to a star's apparent brightness, and that is how bright the star appears to us observing it from here on Earth. A star emits energy in all directions in space, but the energy that we see here on Earth is only a small fraction of the total energy emitted by the star. So a star's apparent brightness is completely different from its luminosity. If you go outside on a clear, dark night and you look at the sky, you'll notice that some stars are bright and some stars are dim. Some stars are so dim that you cannot see them at all without a telescope or binoculars. In fact, the most stars that you can see with your naked eye of all the billions and billions of stars in the sky is probably only about 2,000 stars, and that's from a dark sky site, while you can only see maybe a few dozen stars from a light-polluted city sky. The brightness of stars and other celestial bodies as well is measured in magnitudes. It's a rather arcane system, but it's thought to be based on a system established by the Greek astronomer Hipparchus around 150 BC. In an earlier episode, I noted that Alexandrian astronomer Ptolemy cataloged 1,000 stars in his book, The Almagest. But this catalog may have just been taken from actual observations made by Hipparchus. No one knows for sure, but either way, this catalog of stars ranked the brightness of stars by magnitudes, with magnitude 1 being a bright star and magnitude 6 being a dim star. The telescope had not yet been invented, and the observations of brightness were made with the naked eye. Hipparchus called the brightness categories magnitudes. In the 19th century, astronomers made magnitude scale much more precise by measuring how much brighter a first magnitude star is than a sixth magnitude star, which showed that we receive 100 times more light from a first magnitude star than from a sixth magnitude star. From that, astronomers could more precisely quantify the magnitude scale to show that we receive 2.5 times as much light from a magnitude 2 star as from a magnitude 3 star. And the total difference between a magnitude 1 star and a magnitude 2 star is 2.5, and between a magnitude 1 star and a magnitude 3 star is 2.5 times 2.5, or 6.25, and so on. When astronomers more accurately measured the apparent brightness of stars, it turned out that stars that Hipparchus or Ptolemy had cataloged as first magnitude stars were actually much brighter. So that's why we now have stars with negative magnitudes. For example, Sirius, the brightest star in Canis Major, has a magnitude of minus 1.4. The Sun is magnitude minus 27. The full moon minus 12. Venus minus 4. Jupiter at its brightest minus 2.8. The dimmest star that a human can see with their naked eye is about magnitude 6.5, but this is very much dependent on your eyesight, light pollution, and how dark the sky is where you're observing. And you can see stars that are much dimmer than magnitude 6.5 with binoculars or a telescope. And if you're thinking about buying a new telescope, you might look at the specifications of that telescope, and it might say limiting stellar magnitude 14.7, for example, and that means that telescope will allow you to see stars as dim as magnitude 14.7. Professional telescopes can see stars much dimmer than that, and telescopes out in space even dimmer. The Hubble Space Telescope can see stars as dim as magnitude 30. You can look up the magnitude of various stars on the internet or on your star chart. And a fun thing to do the next time you go outside on a clear, dark night is look up and see if you can judge the apparent brightness of various stars. This is a good exercise because it will help you to locate objects in the night sky. And also because if you ever want to participate in an observing program, you must judge the sky quality on each night that you observe by noting what is the dimmest star that you can see at the zenith or straight overhead, or by seeing how many stars can you see in the Little Dipper, or there are some other ways. And by the way, the brightest star in the Little Dipper is Polaris, the North Star. A common misconception is that Polaris is the brightest star in the night sky, but if you look carefully at nearby stars in the Big Dipper, you'll see right away that is not the case. In fact, Polaris is only the 45th brightest star in the night sky. The brightest star in the night sky is Sirius in the constellation Canis Major, which you can only see in late autumn and winter in the northern hemisphere. One reason why it's important to know the apparent magnitude of a star is that from the apparent magnitude, astronomers can then determine the absolute magnitude or luminosity of a star using the apparent brightness and the known distance to the star. And in that way learn a lot more about the stars. So next time you go outside to enjoy the night sky, look up and see if you can judge the magnitude of various stars. See what's the dimmest star that you can see with your naked eye. Or note the magnitude of various stars to help you locate objects later on. And look up the stars' magnitudes that you saw later on to find out their apparent magnitude and to see how you did. I'll see y'all in the next one. Dark skies forever. Sula signing off.